Hi dreamers, Surina here. In preparation for my wedding, which is in a few months, I've been doing a lot of art projects, and the one I accomplished this week I decided to share with you in a tutorial video, my very first, and that is how I made my hand fasting cords. So this is it. This is my hand fasting cord. I just finished it last night. It is about 5.5 feet in length. I think that's where I chose to stop. You can make it as long as you want, but you do, I think, at least want to have it around 5 feet because the act of using the hand fasting cords is to tie, I believe, around the hand several times. That was the impression that I got, was that this cord was to be tied around our hands several times. So I wanted enough length so that I can make that happen. The materials that I used were kind of important to me. I wanted to make sure that I got an attractive ribbon. I went for like a flat satin ribbon, but also that at the finished product had enough weight to it that it would be sturdy enough. And I was actually caught between two different methods for making our hand fasting cord. It was either going to be this or it was going to be like a round braided rope, which I would have done using like a wheel, like a weaving wheel. But I settled on this because I thought the flatter look was not only more attractive, but it looked like it would tie better on the day. So I think it turned out great. So I used 6 pieces of ribbon to make this. It was the lilac color and the light green color on the outside, and then the inner layer is 2 pieces of white ribbon, and then I used a narrower piece of ribbon on either side to create the stripes. And then you can see on the other side, that's what it looks like. So you can use up to 6 colors if you're doing this for yourself. I just chose green and purple because those are the colors in our wedding. And I liked incorporating white. There isn't a whole lot about my wedding that is going to be traditional. I'm not wearing white to my wedding, so I'm incorporating white into the decorations in subtler ways, and I thought one of the ways to do that would be to incorporate it into our hand fasting cords. So I'm going to begin the process of showing you how to weave this. So first and foremost, you want to make sure that the ribbon, when you tie it together, is separated into 2 halves. You're going to be weaving 2 halves together, and then they will, in the process of folding, reveal the colors on the outside and inside. And the order in which you do this is very important, so you want to make sure that you have your colors lined up to go outside layer, inside layer, in this case being the white, and then the opposite stripe. So the stripe that I have for the right side is going to be green, so I'm going to put it with the left side. And then you're going to have the stripe and then the inside layer and then the outside layer. So it goes in that order. And then you're going to separate them and then press them together so that they're flat. And that's what you'll be weaving together. I should also mention that I just left my ribbon on the spools. You don't need to measure out your ribbon ahead of time. I actually liked that about this technique the best, and was probably one of the deciding factors on why I did it this way, so that I didn't have to measure out my ribbon ahead of time, and because all of the weaving happens towards your fingers, so you can just let that shit hang. And I find that it's helpful anyway, because the weight of the spool keeps things from kind of tangling together, and you can just sort of kick them if they get in your way. So mine are just over there. I'm going to utilize a cheap and cheesy effect here and balance my phone on this box so that I can use both my hands to show you how to get started. Okay, so we've got 2 sides. Whoops. Hold on, let me get this back together. Come together. Okay, here we go. So you're going to separate both sides, outside layers, that way, so we got the lilac and the light purple there, and then the white, followed by, again, the stripe on the opposite side. So to begin, I hope, okay, there we go, focus a little better. You're going to make 2 loops. So 1 loop, whoops, 2 loop, and then you are going to slip 1 loop inside of the other. You can do this by just sort of like folding one over the other. and then pulling so that the first loop is snug, just snug over the first, or over the second loop, pardon me. And then to secure that and to begin the chain, you're going to make another loop, slip it inside this one here, okay, and then pinch them together, and then pull the previous loop just snug around the new loop, and that's it. Then you just keep going and going, and this project took me about 2 hours, I'd say, to finally complete, and that's for a hand fasting cord that's 5.5 feet long. I'm not proficient at this method, so it might have taken me a little longer, but that's okay. I didn't mind spending the time doing it. It was nice to just sit and sort of meditate. I did it in a ritual setting. I had incense and candles lit, the whole shebang. I had our wedding playlist going on in the background. And then I just sat there and weaved away, just sort of meditating on my relationship and how it's evolved over time and how it will continue to grow. And I sort of thought about my wedding day and what that will be like, what I imagine it will be like. And that's pretty much it. So the outside edges, I should mention, will form as you get a little farther up. So you can see here we've got 2 stitches essentially on the outside edges, and we're about 5 stitches in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you know, you'll see that form a little more concretely as you go up. And from here it's just a matter of keeping your ribbon together. I will show you how to finish this. Let me just get a couple more stitches in. And I can't remember if I said before, but try not to pull them too tight because you don't want to get rid of that nice flat look. If you squeeze the ribbons too hard and it's too tight, it may look a little weird. So, okay. Let's do 2 more. So 1. And 2. Slip. Pull. Okay, so hold on, let me adjust this. And then I'm going to show you how to finish. So I've got a pair of scissors near here. Oh, I'm sitting on them. So to finish, you're going to take your final loop, leave it loose there, and then I'll just cut the ribbon here. And we are going to take this whole group of ribbon and slip it into that loop, baby. And then pull to secure. And then from here you can just, I chose to, with mine, just mimic the knot on this side. And, whoops, hit the box, sorry. Oh. Whoops. I'm doing this badly. But anyway, it doesn't really matter what the knot looks like because I'm going to put a link in the description. There was this very easy and very useful tutorial on how to make tassels and attach them to cord. And essentially, if you have a big enough tassel, like the one that I used, I think in the video, the lady that was making the tassels just used 1 piece of string and made a tassel out of just the one wound around a couple of times. And I wanted mine to be bigger because I had a knot to cover, so I used a whole bunch of different strings, and I decided to just use 1 string for every color in my rope here. So that made a really big bulky tassel, and that was sufficient enough to cover up the ugly knot. And also, when you're attaching it, you can attach it instead of at the knot right here, you can attach it up here and it will cover all of this shit, and you can just sort of like trim the loose ribbons at the bottom and you won't even see the knot anymore. So that's why when you're starting out and you've got like this kind of flappy bit, and this is from the first few stitches I made and it just looks weird, it really doesn't matter because you're going to cover all of that. No one will see it. Only you will know it's there, so it doesn't necessarily have to look bad. It may haunt you in your dreams, but other than that, it won't be noticed. I will say that in the video that I will link in the description, the lady uses, I believe, a tapestry needle, which has a dull tip. I used, I believe, what is a darning needle. I might have that wrong, but it is a pretty big needle with a pretty big eye, but it's sharp because I wanted to actually poke through the ribbon to secure it. That way, it's all sort of sewn together right there under the tassel. Alright guys, that concludes the tutorial. If you try this technique for either your hand fasting or a different project altogether, hit me up in the comments. I like to share crafts. I hope the tutorial itself was informative and also that the camera work was okay and you got to see everything. I'm just filming with my phone, so I really hope it wasn't too bad. Have a great night, everybody. Sweet dreams. See you next time. Bye.